Welcome, everyone. Before we dive in, be sure to drop your thoughts, feelings, and lessons in the comments below. Like the video and subscribe so you never miss stories like this. Let's get into it. Nia called me unemployed on her live office stream like it was the punchline of the year, then angled the camera so her coworkers could laugh right in my face. She didn't say it once. She repeated it louder, like she wanted the word to stick to my skin. She did it knowing I'd been applying every day, knowing I'd been carrying fear like a second job, knowing I trusted her. She let the chat spam clown emojis and get a job jokes while she smiled like she'd just won something. I'm Mark, and that humiliation was only the beginning. Here's how it happened. 2 months before that stream, my contract in Atlanta got cut with a "we'll circle back" and a handshake that meant nothing. I went from steady paychecks to uncertainty so fast it felt like getting shoved off a curb. Nia hugged me at first, kissed my forehead, said, "We good." I believed her because love makes you believe in people's best versions of themselves. I didn't know she was already building a stage to embarrass me on. I didn't know she'd turn my soft spot into her entertainment. We lived in Decatur, Georgia, in a 2-bedroom that always smelled faintly like her vanilla plug-in and my coffee. She called it our place when it was convenient and my place when she was mad. I wasn't perfect, but I was loyal. I paid most of the rent during her between job seasons. I fixed the leaky faucet, replaced the busted microwave, and learned to make salmon the way she liked. Crispy skin, lemon, and just enough seasoning to make her close her eyes on the first bite. We weren't rich, but we were building something that felt real. Nia was the kind of woman who could walk into a room and make the air rearrange itself. Sharp nails, sharper tongue, laugh that could be warm or weaponized depending on who she wanted to be. In the beginning, her jokes felt like spice. She teased me for folding towels like a hotel employee. She called me Mr. Responsible because I kept a budget spreadsheet. When she grabbed my face and say, "I like that you're steady," I took it as a compliment. I didn't realize she was collecting my steadiness like evidence she could later use against me. The funniest part is we met at a Kroger on a random Tuesday. I was stuck in the aisle trying to find the cheapest cereal that didn't taste like cardboard. Nia slid up next to me, stared at the boxes, and said, "If you get that off-brand one, don't ever invite me to breakfast." I laughed, she laughed, and I grabbed the Honey Nut Cheerios like my dignity depended on it. We ended up arguing, playfully, about whether cereal was a meal. She said, "It's a snack pretending to be a lifestyle." I said, "You sound like you judge people for joy." That's when she smiled like she'd found trouble worth keeping. Dating her was a mix of romance and comedy. She'd drag me to the Beltline and pretend she hated walking, but 2 minutes and she'd be swinging my hand and pointing out murals like a kid. She'd steal fries off my plate with no shame, then swear she was just taste testing. One night, we danced in the kitchen to old-school Anita Baker while the chicken burned in the oven. She didn't even care. She kissed me, laughing into my mouth, and said, "We can eat cereal." I thought, this is it. This is the kind of love people write about. When my contract ended, I told her sitting on the edge of our couch. My throat felt tight like I had swallowed gravel. She said, "Okay, we'll adjust." She kissed my cheek and told me to breathe. For a week, she was supportive. She packed me lunch like I was still going in office. She'd say, "Baby, you're too talented to stay down." But I noticed small shifts, her patience thinning, her compliments turning into silent appraisals. She started coming home later, saying, "It's busy," and her phone stayed face down a lot more. I turned job hunting into a routine because routine is how you keep panic from winning. Up at 6, coffee, applications, a workout at the park near Stone Mountain if my head got too loud, library time when the apartment felt tense, interviews over Zoom in my suit jacket with sweatpants underneath, trying to look like stability while my bank app told the truth. I wasn't lazy. I was fighting. But the more I fought, the more Nia acted like the battle embarrassed her. She'd sigh when I talked about another interview like my hope was an inconvenience. The first real betrayal was subtle. I landed a final round interview for a remote position based out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Great salary, benefits, the kind of job that could reset everything. I told Nia and expected her to be excited. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "That's nice," she said, like I'd told her I found a good deal on paper towels. Later that night, she asked, "So, what if you don't get it?" I said, "I will." She laughed, light, quick, dismissive. "Okay, Mark." Manifestation king. Our romantic scenes started shrinking into moments I had to chase. I tried to cuddle and she'd say, "Not now, I'm tired." I'd plan date night and she'd suddenly have work stuff. I still tried. I cooked. I cleaned. I listened. One Friday, I brought home her favorite cupcakes from a black-owned bakery in Atlanta, thinking sweetness could soften whatever was happening. She took one bite and said, "These are good." Then she went right back to her phone. I sat there, cupcake crumbs on my thumb, feeling like I was dating someone through a screen. Her friends weren't kind either, especially her coworker, Shay, who always had a slick comment ready. Shay would come over and act like our apartment was a set. "Ah, Mark's still here?" she'd say, scanning the room like she expected to see dust. Nia would laugh, not correcting her. One night Shay said, "Girl, you better not be sponsoring a grown man." I wanted to speak up, but Nia touched my arm under the table, that quiet warning. "Don't make this awkward." So I swallowed my pride like medicine and let them talk around me like I wasn't in my own life. My mom raised me to believe love is patience plus work. So I work harder. I try to be extra gentle, extra helpful, extra calm. I thought if I could just get back on my feet, the tension would disappear. But love doesn't survive on effort alone if one person is secretly rooting for your failure. I didn't know that yet. I just knew that I was tired. Tired of proving I deserved respect. Tired of having my worth measured by my paycheck. Tired of hearing, when you get a job, like my humanity was on layaway. The day of the stream, she texted me at 11:47 a.m. "Watch my lunch live." It's funny. I thought she meant funny like office gossip, funny like her impressions of coworkers. I logged on from my phone in my car outside the library indicator. I had just finished submitting 4 applications and felt proud for staying consistent. I even smiled a little, thinking maybe she wanted to include me in her world. I didn't realize I was about to be used as a prop. I didn't know my pain was about to become content. On screen, Nia sat at her desk under fluorescent lights, hair laid, lip gloss shining like she meant business. Coworkers hovered behind her, laughing and eating chips. She said, "Y'all say hi." People in the chat poured in, "Hey, Nia." Office queen, dropped the skincare routine. She soaked it up. Then she leaned closer to the camera, smirked, and said, "So my man, Mark, he's been home, like home. She drew it out while her coworkers grinned. My stomach dropped. I already knew where she was going. "Full-time unemployed," she said, loud enough that heads turned. "He wakes up every day and practices being broke." Her coworkers erupted. Someone behind her yelled, "Tell him to apply at McDonald's." Nia laughed like she'd just told the best joke of the year. The chat exploded. Clown emojis, LMAO, not practicing being broke, get him a LinkedIn premium subscription. I felt heat crawl up my neck. My hand started shaking. It's one thing to struggle privately. It's another thing to be turned into a meme by the person you sleep next to. She didn't stop. She tilted the camera slightly, and I saw her laptop screen reflected in the glass behind her. My name, my email. She said, "He be sending applications like prayer requests." More laughter. She made a mock serious face. "Dear hiring manager, please accept me. I am a humble unemployed man." Her coworkers howled. I could hear the cruelty in the way she said unemployed, like it meant worthless. I wanted to disappear. I typed in her chat from a burner account, "This isn't cool," but it got buried under emojis like my dignity didn't matter. I texted her, "Why would you do that?" She read it, because the typing bubble stopped and started, then replied, "If you're embarrassed, get employed." That was it. "No, baby, I'm sorry. No, I was joking." Just a sentence that told me exactly what she thought of me. When she got home that evening, she acted like nothing happened. Kicked off her heels, asked what was for dinner, and said, "Don't be sensitive." I stared at her like she was a stranger wearing my girlfriend's face. That night, I didn't sleep. I kept replaying the laughter, the chat, her voice. It wasn't just humiliation, it was betrayal. I thought about all the times I defended her when people said she was too mean. I thought about the bills I paid so she could breathe. I thought about the way she used my trust like a tool. At 3 a.m., I went in the bathroom, shut the door, and sat on the floor because my legs couldn't hold my disappointment. I didn't cry loud. I cried quiet, the way men do when they don't feel safe enough to fall apart. The next morning, I checked my email for interview updates and saw nothing. My Charlotte recruiter had been responsive, so the silence felt wrong. I went back through my sent folder and noticed something, an email I didn't remember writing, a withdrawal message. My heart started pounding. I opened it and saw it had been sent from my account at 9:12 p.m. the night before the stream, while I was at the library. I hadn't sent it. I couldn't have. My hand got cold. I realized someone had access to my email. Someone who knew my passwords. Someone who lived with me. I confronted Nia carefully because I still hoped there was a misunderstanding. "Did you ever log into my email?" I asked. She didn't even pretend to be confused. She rolled her eyes and said, "Why would I do that?" Her tone was annoyed, like my fear was an interruption. I said, "Because there's a message in my sent folder I didn't send." She leaned back, folded her arms, and said, "Mark, you're spiraling. Maybe you forgot." Then she smirked and added, "Unemployed people have a lot of time to forget things." That's when I felt something in me harden. Malik called me that afternoon and said, "Bro, somebody posted screenshots in her chat." My stomach flipped. Malik explained that during Nia's next lunch live, the chat suddenly shifted. Someone had dropped an email screenshot showing Nia's work account responding to my Charlotte offer thread, acting like she was me. Then another screenshot showed her forwarding my offer details to her coworkers with, "Almost had something, had to stop that." Malik said the chat went dead quiet for a second, then exploded, but not with laughter, with disgust. Nia ended the stream fast, snapping, "Mind your business." Malik told me, "They caught her, Mark." I sat in my car outside the library, staring at the steering wheel like it had answers. I didn't feel victorious. I felt sick, because it meant I wasn't paranoid. It meant the person I loved was actively closing doors on my life. I scrolled through messages from her over the past month and saw new meaning in everything. The way she asked for my interview dates. The way she offered to help with my emails. The way she'd grab my phone playfully and say, "Let me see what the recruiters want." She wasn't curious. She was controlling. And she didn't feel guilty. She felt entitled. That evening I packed a bag. I didn't announce it. I didn't argue. I moved quietly like someone leaving a burning building. Nia came in while I was folding shirts and said, "What are you doing?" I told her, "I'm leaving." She laughed, actually laughed, and said, "Where you going, Mark?" "To your unemployed convention." I kept folding. She walked closer, eyes sharp. "You're not about to embarrass me because you can't handle a joke." I said, "This isn't about the joke." She said, "You don't have proof of anything." Then she smiled like she knew she did. "And even if you did, who would believe you?" I ended up on my cousin's couch in Decatur, feeling like the floor had shifted under my life. My cousin meant well, but she kept saying maybe she was stressed. Like stress makes you impersonate someone and sabotage their job offer. Meanwhile, Nia's mom, Tanya, called me and accused me of trying to punish a black woman for being ambitious. I said, "Your daughter humiliated me and interfered with my employment." Tanya replied, "Men always want to control women." Then she hung up. Nia never apologized. Not a single "I'm sorry." She texted me only to insult me. The funny part, because life is sick like that, is that the only soft moment I got was from the Charlotte recruiter. She emailed me, "Mark, are you okay? We received concerning information about your application withdrawal." I explained what happened without drama, just facts. She scheduled a call, asked me to file an identity impersonation report, and told me they'd restore my candidacy if I confirmed my intent. That email felt like someone throwing me a rope while I was drowning. I wasn't looking for revenge. I was looking for a chance to stand up again. I filed the report. Quietly, methodically, like building a wall brick by brick. Nia's karma didn't come as some viral explosion. It came in the most realistic way possible: workplace consequences and bills. The screenshots had circulated to people who knew how to report things properly. Her company's IT had already flagged her streaming on corporate Wi-Fi and devices. Add impersonation tied to recruitment communications and harassment. That's a termination package wrapped in policy language. 2 weeks later, I got an email from the leasing office because my name was still connected to her lease from when I helped her qualify. They wanted updated employment verification. Same day, a courier dropped paperwork asking me to remove myself from liability. Translation: her income was gone. She messaged me like I was the villain. "So you really did this?" she wrote. "You jealous bum. Then, enjoy ruining my life. Then, you always want to see me down." No apology, no accountability, just anger that consequences existed. I didn't respond. Not because I was above it, because I was tired of feeding a fire that never warmed me. I learned something important in those weeks. Some people don't feel remorse. They only feel inconvenience. And when you stop being useful, they treat you like trash they're mad they ever had to carry. I started the Charlotte job remote from Stone Mountain. I didn't announce it. I didn't post a new beginnings photo. I just bought a desk off Facebook Marketplace, set it up in my cousin's spare room, and showed up for myself every day. My first paycheck hit, and I sat there staring at my banking app like it was a sunrise. I started therapy during lunch breaks, because being humiliated like that doesn't just fade. It rewires you if you let it. I cooked healthier meals, started running again, and slowly rebuilt my confidence in private. Success felt different when it wasn't performative. It felt safe. Months later, I ran into Nia at a Target in Atlanta. She looked the same, but moved like someone who had been carrying stress for too long. She spotted me near the toiletries and froze. For a second, I thought she might finally say something human. But she didn't. She smirked and said, "Oh, look who got a job." Like she couldn't even let the moment be neutral. I smiled back, not sweet, not cruel, just calm. "Take care," I said. Then I walked away. My heart didn't race. My chest didn't tighten. That's when I knew I was free. The funniest part was realizing I didn't need her to admit she was wrong for me to be right. The moral lesson is simple, but it cost me a lot to learn. Don't build a home with someone who enjoys making you feel small. Love isn't a stage where one person claps while the other bleeds. Humor isn't humiliation, and romance doesn't survive contempt. I used to think proving myself would earn me respect, but respect isn't something you audition for. You either receive it or you leave. Nia never showed remorse, and that was the closure. My comeback wasn't public. It was private. Steady work, quiet healing, stronger boundaries, and a life where my worth isn't up for debate. If you love stories that make you gasp, laugh, and whisper "no way" in the same minute, hit subscribe because the next one is even worse.